Hello, all. Yeah, so myself, Vishwa. So I'm here to talk about my open source project that I built for myself called Sarathy, which is an open class style assistant that I just built for myself, and I'm here to share my experience, motivation, what you can learn about it. So just a customary slide about who I am. So I'm working in Dell Canada as a distinguished tech leader. So my domain is completely on telecom, 5G, network intelligence, etc. So I do have a website and I have a YouTube channel. If you speak my language, Tamil, you might enjoy some tech content in Tamil. So let's start with motivation. So fast forward a few months back when Peter Steinberger introduced openclaw in X, it went crazy, and then lot more copycats came, and there is lot of claws like nano claw, pico claw, like anything claw would be there. And as you might imagine, we thinkers we want to jump something that is new and viral, right? So I went ahead and downloaded the OpenClaw. I tried to set things up. Some things worked, out of the box. Like I was able to connect to Telegram and Discord. It worked, but then as soon as I started to use it mainstream, like creating some tasks or writing a cron job, it failed miserably. And when I tried to learn something like how do I configure X versus Y, the documentation was not clear. And there were like too many competing projects on the internet. And even if I tried to, so I'm a developer. So naturally, I tried to understand the code. I tried to see what works, what doesn't work if something fails. And it was simply not possible for me to kind of keep up with all of the modules, that these generalized chatbot, decentralized open class system seems to have. And because it became too popular, it also invited a lot of vulnerabilities. And every single night there used to be some updates, and I used to be paranoid whether did I install something that is vulnerable or should I keep on patching it and stuff like that. And the main thing for me is that if I kind of don't understand how it works, I kind of don't like it because then it means that it's totally black box. I'm kind of blind to what's happening. Being a developer, it's a kind of side effect that we always want to know how things work. That gives us extra confidence to use it. So along the same time, there used to be there is still a project called, I think it is NanoClaw, where the user's ethos is that you use Claude code to kind of personalize the OpenClaw, such that whatever that you don't know or you don't need, the author actually asked Claude code to kind of remove the code and then kind of personalized it to just his way of working, and which also Karpati seems to like it, and then he kind of popularized it. So I want to experiment that. So I know Python a lot, so I kind of forked the nanobot, which is the Python implementation of OpenClaw. And then I started then removing the stuff that I don't need, and then copying the stuff that I like within OpenClaw and uh, you know uh, another claw like project called Hermes. So Hermes is getting popular right now. So if you're totally new to this, you have no idea what is OpenClaw or Hermes. I would recommend to start with Hermes because it is much more manageable than OpenClaw. So I forked the nanobot and then I removed stuff I don't want. For example, I'm not going to use WeChat. I'm not going to use Slack. So I removed all of those stuff. And then I like certain aspects like, automatic skill building. And then, things like when you create a skill file, it automatically, OpenClaw automatically reloads so that you don't have to restart your gateway, etc. So it's like an a la carte meal where I kind of shopped around different competing projects, and whichever stuff that I like, I kind of took it. And then I created Sarathy for me. So this is the project link which you can use, and then you could go over the stuff that I created for myself. But again, if you look at the README, I made a clear statement that I'm not looking for contributors, or I don't care that something is there or not. I'm just building this for myself, right? So I'm just sharing it on GitHub so that people might get inspired and motivated, and then they kind of fork my repo and then customize it for themselves. Like I'm not really looking for people to contribute or I'm not here to build something that other people like. It is 100% my own personal projects. And I believe that's how a personal assistant should be, right? It is dealing with your own sensitive user data. You don't want to give it to some external company. At the same time, you don't want something that another person would need, right? It should be 100% yours alone. Hence, it's called personal assistant. So I kind of went with that ethos. And then how I deployed it. So I have a very old, M1 Mac Studio with 32 GB of RAM. So I'm a paranoid person, and I don't want to give the complete host access to my agent. At the same time, I don't want to waste my time configuring the do's and don'ts for my agent. So I kind of want a middle field where the agent is behaving in a root access, so I don't have to worry about configuring something. At the same time, it is still sandbox so that it doesn't touch my host. So I kind of went with this approach where on the main host, I have the Quen model, 9 billion model with 256K context. I'll talk about the context length next. And then I have a Docker where I have Sarathy running as one container with root access. So I just have to bring him up. Like I don't have to configure anything. And then whichever host services that I want to provide. For example, I locally host the search XNG search engine. I have a local crawler for called crawl for AI to do the crawling. Whatever I want to give the ability for the agent to use from my host, I kind of packed it as a container, and then using the Docker host networking, I'm able to achieve this without internet access, right? The only thing that talks to internet is my local host, which is having socket connection to, let's say, Telegram or mail or Discord, but then the agent itself is completely unaware of it. It simply calls the local host port of LM Studio or Olama, and then the model is able to talk as if it is sitting, right next to each other, within the host namespace. So this way, I don't have to run Tailscale or I don't have to open an SSH tunnel going through internet. I'm still able to contact my agent on the go. At the same time, I'm not really doing anything super crazy or fancy that might involve a lot of security bottleneck too. So I thought I'll just settle for this one. So this is the first contact that uh, where I was able to get it up and running. And I have three channels. One is Discord, Telegram, and Mail. All three are working correctly. And once the first step is done, and I started to experiment, right, where I use Sarathy to extend Sarathy, right, because Sarathy is also a coding agent. So for certain things like bug fixes or certain new features that doesn't involve greater design, I simply chat via Telegram. It updates its code, it restarts automatically, and then comes back. So this part I kind of copied from openclaw. And then once I have the search engine hooked up, I started asking him to come to do comparative analysis, curated newsletters, and even understanding the search paper in a TLDR format, because it has now got access to the mail, because I own my own website domain. So I kind of created one other email domain for Saradi, and it's hosted within my iCloud. So I don't want to use Gmail, etc., because I wanted to have all of the agent data within myself, and I kind of went with Apple's ecosystem for this because I'm anyways using a lot of Apple devices. And whenever I kind of see new stuff that is happening on the internet, for example, I copied the Hermes's auto create skills, which is very useful because the way it works is that if I give a task to Sarathi and then Sarathi fails, I kind of instruct him, educate him how to do it. And then every 10 prompts or so, there will be another system prompt that is running within Sarathi to kind of go look back last 10 conversation. And then if the user has helped you, instructed you to do something, then you try to create your own skill. That is how Hermes works. So I didn't copy Hermes' code. I didn't really clone Hermes. Instead, I simply asked Sarathi to go and check out that particular feature and then self-create a skill for it. So all of this Sarathi was able to do. Mind you, it is a 9 billion model. It is not such a big model, but for its for its parameter count, it is actually punching, a higher weight than I expected. It was able to create all of these skills on demand without external code change, just by prompting it to go and read the GitHub README and then try to create a skill on demand. Then I went with the LLM wiki that you should all know from Kapati, where whenever I can show this, I have it here. So whenever I put something on the inbox, it automatically starts a heartbeat job, and then it will ask the agent to parse the inbox and then create put something on the raw folder, and then it will then try to create a synthesized wiki. And it was also able to use JS to kind of provide an analytics view of what it is ingesting. And all of this is done locally by the same 9 billion model, who also happens to be my assistant. Like, I'm not using multiple models or multiple assistants. It is the same framework that I'm trying to make it work for all of my needs, which is what I think the future version of assistant should be. Uh, Yeah, and finally, I'm also experimenting with the self journal approach, because I wanted to kind of create a data set for fine tuning. Let's say today I'm using out of box model. So as I continue my history with Sarathy, and then I asked Sarathy to kind of write a journal for himself every day night at 11 p.m. And once I have enough data set, I might want to tune the base model to be even more personalized to me. I mean, that is the experiment I'm doing. I don't know how far I'm going to get with it, but this is something that I'm doing currently. So in retrospect, not everything is roses, because I experimented with sub-agents. It failed exclusively for my setup, because the models cannot scale uh, beyond a single turn approach. And then the memory.md bloat is actually real, especially for smaller models, because even though I explicitly asked the agent not to bloat memory.md, keep it within 2000 characters, have a structure like, user profile, hard lessons learned, etc. All of this is not really, practically possible with a 9 billion model. And you know, because I'm a paranoid person, I'm actually sandboxing my agent, but it also means that I'm actually limiting my agent by not providing more access, right? So I'm kind of experimenting with another project called Sarathy OS, which I will talk in the next slide, where I'm trying to see, like, how can I solve this approach? Like, I want to expose my host capabilities, but without giving it SSH access. So that is what I'm trying to experiment now. And because I have this 32 GB of memory, I cannot do much, right? Anything I do is kind of defined by the KV cache length. And because I want longer context, I have to settle with anything greater than 32K, which means even though technically I can run a 24 billion parameter model, I am limited to use 9 billion model, because I need to give more room for the KV cache for my use case. So that is where I am. And in future, I might want to try with local models, try to use turbo quant, implementation whenever that is available, and then make Sarathy OS work. So that is a cue to understand Sarathy OS. So this is what I'm planning, where I would run an agent framework within the host, which would then safely expose the host capability, like the file system, the mail, or even a coding agent. Like, I might have a coding agent like Cloud Code or OpenCode on my host, which might have access to, let's say, Xcode, and I want to, let's say, create an iOS app. Then I might prompt it via Telegram that goes to Sarathy, that goes to the host networking, and then there has to be some kind of safe interface like HTTPS or something, or WebSocket, without giving the shell access, but have some kind of a read or write or specific execute access, where I might be able to control whatever that is there within my host. So that is again another experiment that I'm trying, and this is also, I'm making it open source. So if you guys are interested, you could check out. And finally, I'm also doing, and because this vibe coding is kind of making, everyone just create apps without much needed development. I have also experimented some on-device, AI-powered apps, like, French learning app called Apprendre, and on-device LLM based VLM based receipt scanner app, which you can find it here. And maybe in next in some of the upcoming events, I might talk about this if there's an interest. But yeah, that's pretty much I wanted to cover today.